Hello and welcome to another video from me, Rough Swordsman, Wargamer. It's an open the box and it's an unboxing of Lock and Load's brand new game, and it is of course Heroes of the Bitter Harvest, the newest addition to the Lock and Load tactical system. And I must thank David Heath and everyone at Lock and Load for sending me this review copy. So what's all this about? Operation Case Blue. On June 28th, 1942, the German High Command launched the Summer Offensive, Case Blue, against the southern lines of the Soviet Union. 2 army groups of 10 armies, nearly 35 divisions, and 2 fall air corps were unleashed against the Soviet lines. It involved a 2-prong attack, one along the Axis right flank, driving to the Caucasus and the vital oil fields of Baku, and the other against the left flank in the direction of Stalingrad and the Volga River. The battle would rage for 2 months, over several hundred square kilometers that would take the German army to the gates of Stalingrad itself. So here's a little bit more about the game and the sort of units you're going to see. And it finishes with the steppes of southern Russia await you. So here's what's in the box. The game includes 7 geomorphic 8¼ by 12¾ inch maps, 6 counter sheets of 475 plus counters, 1 color modules rules and scenarios booklet, 1 color solo assistant booklet, 13 double-sided player aid cards measuring 8½ by 11 inches, 1 single-sided player aid card 8½ by 11 inches, 1 heavy-duty box, and it has to be because of the amount of stuff in here, 94 poker-sized cards, 100 tarot-sized cards, and 2 D6 dice. So, the game credits. Executive producer David Heath, lead designer Devin Heinley, development team David Heath, Devin Heinley, map art Mark von Marshall, the manual layout Blackwell Hurd, and the editor Stefan Tanguay. Hope I pronounced that right, Stefan. So on the sort of game meters here, we've got the complexity 6 out of 10 and the solitaire playability 10 out of 10. Ages 12 plus, players 1 to 2, time 2 to 4 hours. Right, let's get the shrink wrap off. Right, the shrink wrap is off, and it's a very heavy 3-inch box. And as you may or may not know, I do love Lock and Load Tactical. I've got most of the core boxes, if you like. But from what I've seen and heard about this game, if you want to get into the Lock and Load Tactical system, I recommend this one, because as you'll see, everything, and I mean everything you'll need to play two-handed or solo and role play is in this box. Right, let's open the box. So the first thing we see is the rulebook, version 5.1. So let's have a quick look at that. So here's the rule set, version 5.1, as mentioned earlier, and this will be included in every core box going forward, I believe. And from what I understand, there's not a lot of changes. It's more clarifications and tidying up of the previous 5.1 rules. But if you decide to get Heroes of the Bitter Harvest, you'll have the most up-to-date rulebook for your other Lock and Load tactical games you have. So this comes in, and don't panic, at 191 pages, but the font, as you'll see, is large. We've got pictures. There we are. One of the things I love about Lock and Load is that the font they use is chosen specially for me, because it's nice and easy to read. But I won't go through everything because there's a tremendous amount of information in this rule book, and it's all color coded. So if you're looking up certain things, there we are. Here's the colors. You just look for that colored hexagon and read that part of the rules. So absolutely wonderful now that it's the rules are standard spirally bound, so it lays flat on your table. You've also got all the handouts in the book. So if you just want this rulebook, you can download it from the Lock and Load Publishing website, and it'll have all the player aids in it. Melee tables and off-board artillery tables. So they're all here. And a glossary at the end and an index. So there we are. Don't panic. Them's the rules. Next, we've got the companion book for Heroes of the Bitter Harvest. And I think they used to call them module books, but now it's companion books. The reason being is that if you don't want to get the boxed game, the physical game, you can download the rules for free. You can purchase this companion book, and this companion book will have everything in it, the scenarios and specific handouts and other things specific to the game, so you can play it online. I think they class this, if you purchase this to play online, as a sort of license to play. So you get the best of both worlds. But in here, we've got a ton of stuff. An introduction, national characteristics. And this is over 100 pages. This is new. Role-playing campaign. By the way, if you haven't checked out Lock and Load Tactical Digital on Steam, go and check that out. It's a great way to learn the game as well, because it won't let you do anything wrong. The rules are sort of programmed into it. But here we've got the role-playing campaign. And I've got a feeling this video is going to be longer than my usual Open the Box videos, because there is, believe me, so much in this game. So, how to get started with it. And then we've got Solo Assistant. Should that be there? Is that a misprint? Not a big deal. But anyway, here is the Solo Assistant included in the box, specifically geared Solo Assistant for Heroes of the Bitter Harvest. And going forward, I believe that Lock and Load will be including a specific Solo Assistant for each new core game that comes out. Now, I think, if I remember rightly, you can use this Solo Assistant with the other core games in the series, but I think they recommend you still use this if you have it, the Lock and Load Tactical Solo, because, as I've just said, the Solo Assistants from now on will be geared to what's in the core box. We'll have a look at the cards in a moment, but here we go. So what I'm saying, everything you need to play this, including the Solo Assistant now, is included in the box. How to set up the cards. And there are some new type of cards in this. I'm looking forward to using it. I think just like in the other Solo Assistant, you've got the defensive and offensive cards, depending on who's playing what, as the AEO, the Artificial Enemy Opponent. So quite a bit on that. Then we've got the Battle Assistant. So it looks like this comes in a bit too early, but it's not a big deal. It's just make me scratch my head for a second there. But next we've got the Battle Assistant, which is, as it says here, an upgraded version of the battle generator that was available. Again, so much in here. How to set up the maps you're going to use. So we've got an assault type of scenario. We've got meeting engagements, artillery availability, wing aircraft, airstrikes and snipers, and how to purchase your units. And then the scenarios. So if you're used to lock and load tactical or the Nations at War series, these will look familiar. Got a bit of introductory flavor text here, the orders of battle, playable area, scenario length, and the victory conditions. And over the page, yes, over the page, I think this is the new solo icon. Yep, the solitaire play rules. Tells you how to build your deck, I think, and where to place the AEO. You can play either side, which is fantastic. So how many scenarios? I didn't check. Let's have a quick look. How many scenarios we've got? 10 scenarios, or that might be another one, 11. We'll have a look at that. So there we go. Each one has the solo set up for it. Absolutely brilliant. Beginning of the end. That's the one, wasn't it? So yep, they're all here. Far from home. No, there's another one. There we are, and the credits. And right at the back, as I say, it's got all the charts and tables for the solo assistant, which we'll have a look at. We've got physical copies of those and all the other. Yep, so it looks like we've just got the solo assistant tables in there, or flow charts and stuff. The other player aids are in the rulebook, which you can download if you wish. And oh, look at this. Role-playing campaign tables. You just sort of play a log. Experience points you can get. And the costs for units if you're going to be designing your own scenarios. My goodness. Oh, it has got some of the other stuff in here. Terrain effects chart. These may be specific to Heroes of the Bitter Harvest, yeah. Skill reference cards. And there we are. My goodness. What a lot in there. That's the companion book. Next we have this 3D hill, which will go on one of the maps. And I think what they're doing, it's a sort of experiment to see if customers like this sort of thing. So if you do get to play with this, let them know what you think of it. And if it's a success, they may do more of this stuff, but we'll show you which map that goes on when we look at the maps. 4 D6s, and then there's cards. So let's have a quick sort of deal through of these. So we've now got skill reference cards. Now, in earlier versions of Lock and Load Tactical, these were just a counter, and we had a player aid listing, which I think we still do, listing all the skills, and Wargame Vault with Lock and Load Tactical made these cards available for other core games. But now, and I think this is going on and continuing from Bit of Harvest onwards, come as standard in the game. You know what I mean? If you're going to buy a Lock and Load Tactical game to get into the system, get this one. Everything you need is in it. We've got some leader cards for the role-playing aspect, if you wished to do that. And the main bulk of these poker-sized cards are these data cards, which I believe first made their appearance in World at War 85, and they were sort of tarot-sized, and has everything you need about the unit on this card. It's especially helpful for when you've got armoured fighting vehicles and the like. So it shows you the other side of the counter, so you don't have to keep picking it up and turning it around. The other reason these are in the game, not only are they convenient, but it's in case you want to use miniatures. Once again, these are going to be standard going forward in every core game. Lovely. And then we've got this great big deck of solo assistant cards. Now, of course, you won't use every card in every scenario, but they look really nice. You've got, as in the last solo assistant, you've got these random number generated dice there in the corner in case you want to use those. I think these are the defensive ones, blue. These are the offensive. Specific reload cards, it looks like. In other words, shuffle the deck. I think. Could be wrong. There we are. So every game from now on in the Lock and Load Tactical series, I believe, will have its own specific solo assistant. There are 7 geomorphic maps, which will be familiar to anybody that has other Lock and Load Tactical core games. Here's one of those maps. They're a nice size, so very small footprint. And this is the map that this 3D hill fits on. Again, if you get this, let Lock and Load know what you think of it. So you get the sort of normal sized maps, if you like, but included are a set of their X maps, which are bigger with bigger hexes. And I'm not sure if this is correct. They'll put a comment if I'm not, but I think from now on, instead of giving you the 2 sets, I think they're just going to include the X maps. But let me know. I think I remember them saying that. But if that's not the case, they'll put me right and leave something in the comments. So let's have a look at these. These are single-sided and they lay nice and flat, actually, without needing any plexi. And just for comparison, here's one of the sort of standard maps, so you can see how much bigger they are, and the hexes are nice and big, so you can fit a couple of counters in there. Keeping your stack heights low. This one's some sort of industrial complex. Got some fields in this one. Nice bit of open space though, with a track going through it. Just to zoom in on those trees, Mark has done a real nice job on these maps. Here's a farm map. Lots of buildings to hide behind and creep into. Some more fields in this one to give cover, but a nice open area to the left. And here's that one with the hill. Unfortunately, being an X map, it won't fit. But I dare say if they get lots of positive feedback for the hill included, you never know, they might make them a bit bigger for the X maps. The stock is really quite nice and thick. So yeah, nice looking maps. Next, there are a ton of player aids. So what I'll do is go through them quickly. Got the terrain effects chart. You can pause if you wish to look at it a bit more detail. Here's those skill reference cards. And some more of those. Terrain effects chart. Again, all geared for this core box. Combat tables number 1. And number 2. 3. And 4. Weapons, ammo, and targets. Player aid number 1. And number 2. Melee tables. And off-board artillery summary. One thing I want to say before I go on, don't be put off by the size of the rulebook, the amount of player aid cards, etc. It's not that difficult to play. There's just a lot of information. And you can do things like just infantry scenarios, put some on a map and just play through some of the infantry rules until you get used to those and then build on that. So don't panic. Here we've got some reference tables. Number 1. You can tell I'm a big fan of this system. I do like it. It looks good and plays great. Here we've got some tables for making your own scenarios, the point costs. We saw those in the one of the books. Do get your own hard copy. The Germans. One for the Soviets. And then to help you, you've got an outline of play. Continuing on the other side. And to finish off, turn record and sequence of play track. Now, of course, having a solo assistant means, I'm afraid, it needs its own set of player aid cards, so we'll have a quick look at those. Now, these are similar to those who have the solo assistant already, or point blank, and you use the solo mode for that. They're flowcharts, and you have charts for whether or not the AEO, the artificial enemy opponent, is on the offensive or defensive. So, for instance, we've got offensive opportunity fire. And on the other side, a defensive opportunity fire. Here's one for moving, offensive, and defensive. So if the card says move and you're playing defensive, you'll use that side of the player aid. Here's the fire action. A fire action is a fire action. And armoured fighting vehicle movement. Oh, this is new, I think. Off-map unit movement. And off-board artillery. Executive victory conditions. and rally phase for the AEO. Counter actions. 1 and 2. And here we've got something called the SMC actions table. I can't at the moment remember what SMC means, but there's the table for it. And on the other side, movement stances. And lastly, the AEO, moving through buildings and sewer movement. And here we have the role-playing campaign tables. Don't get overwhelmed, little by little. And lastly, we have the counter sheets, 6 of them. Now, it always worries me when they put them into plastic bags, because that means they might well jump out and want to play. So wish me luck. Let's have a look at them. Here's the first sheet of Russians. These look like the guards. So as per normal, nice thick card. And of course they just punch out without any effort. No counter clipping required. And here on this, the arrow, if you're not aware, that's actually got a direction on it because of front, rear and side armour. They are very nice. Pleasure to play with. Here's the other, oh, there we go. Here's the other side. They're popping out. This is their shaken side, or the side that shows you all the data for the AFVs. Here's counter sheet 2. Got some Germans now, and some leaders. And the other side. So the other side of that Russian plane has got the Junkers 87 on it. Here's counter sheet number 3. Germans and their Hev there, look. And some SS. And the other side. Here's sheet 4, some admin markers up here, assault move, melee, shaken markers, ops complete and the like, and some turret markers here, and German weapon teams and vehicles. Here's the other side, and these admin markers are dual use, different things on either side of it, and these are the new admin markers that came out separately. What was it, a year ago or so? So you've got the new admin markers now. Here's counter sheet number 5. We're nearly there. These are the skill counters, which you can use as well. Placement markers, events and objective markers, some more admin, acquisition, fire and smoke. I tell you, it all happens in this game. And the other side. And here's the last counter sheet 6. We've got some hold down markers here, victory counters, objectives, fire for effect. I think that's artillery. Here are the counters for the role-playing campaign, and these, I believe, are to do with the solo assistant and solo setup. And there's the other side. And that's it. That is everything in the box. Crikey. So this has been an Open the Box, an extended unboxing of a new family member for Lock and Load Tactical. It is Heroes of the Bitter Harvest. And what a lot you get in this box. And as I said at the beginning, if you're new to this system and thinking of having a look at it, I would suggest, and it's only my suggestion, that you pick up this core game because it's got everything in it. Not only has it got the most up-to-date rules, It's got its own solo assistant. So if that's what you do, you can play solo straight away. You've got the data cards, you've got the skill cards, role-playing cards, everything. And if you like this system, this will give you, of course, a great foundation for you if you wish to go and look at some of the earlier modules, and you'll find them easier to play because you're familiar with the rules. Now, as you can tell, I'm a bit of a fan of Lock and Load Tactical. I make no bones about it. So if I sound a bit gushy, I apologize. But I hope you enjoyed the video and you found it interesting. And I'm hoping that seeing what's in the box has sort of piqued your interest to explore a bit further. And that's the aim of my videos, really. If you did enjoy it, though, and you haven't done so already, it would be great if you would consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help. Another thing that helps the channel tremendously is if you push the like button of the video, the big thumbs up underneath it. And if you want to be informed of other content the channel uploads, then push the bell. By all means, I encourage you to leave a comment. What do you think? As you know, it's one of my favorite tactical systems, but you may have other opinions or you may agree. Let me know. I love to read them. And thanks as always to my subscribers. Thank you so much. You have my heartfelt thanks for subscribing. And just before I go, if you wish to support the channel a little bit further, well, now you can buy the channel a coffee, and I'll leave a link in the description for that, or you can push the super thanks button underneath this video, either of which, if you decide to do that, really does help the channel to keep ticking along. So thank you. So there we are. That's Heroes of the Bitter Harvest. And once again, I've got to thank Lock and Load for sending me this. Much appreciated. And I couldn't wait to do this unboxing so I could share it with you. But that was a lot of stuff. I'm going to have a lie down now, and I'll see you in the next video. But until then, as always, you take care and goodbye.